Well and fabulous today. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for those of you who have been doing so. Check out my Etsy shop for personal budget-friendly readings. Okay, so I'm making another video to talk about something that's not particularly about witchcraft, but it is important to know as a spiritual worker. Heck, it's important for everyone to know. So, did you know that food carries vibration and energy? So, pretty much everything is alive. Pretty much everything has energy, and pretty much everything carries a certain vibration, and that can be low or that can be high, that can be negative or it can be positive. So food and liquids that you consume, that you drink, carries energy, and it is important to understand what kind of energy it carries. So most food, unfortunately, and beverages that we consume, unfortunately, carries very negative, low vibrational energy. So what you put in your body matters. So if you are consuming anything that is low vibrational, it's going to put negative energy in your body. Sometimes you think that you're being hexed or cursed, or you have the evil eye, or you think you have an enemy because maybe you feel like shit, maybe you look like shit, maybe you have negative thoughts and nightmares. Yes, this is all signs of someone working on you, but it could also be signs of consuming negativity. It's very important to stay away from sugar. Sugar is very bad for you and it's low vibrational, but it is great in things like sweetening and love magic. So it does kind of carry that sweetening, loving, vibrational energy, but for consuming, the negative energy is low. Like, it has bad energy when you consume it. That may not make sense. But you want to stay away from sugar. You want to stay away from processed foods. Foods like this that are not good for you. It's going to not only affect you physically, but spiritually. It's going to affect your energy. Anything that's not good for your body, drugs, alcohol, smoking, all these things is going to affect your energy. It's going to affect your vibration. So you may think that you're cursed when really it's your eating habits. It's what you're eating. It's what you're consuming. Now, I could go on about this for 2 hours, but I'm going to try to make this a quick video. So, for example, meat, there's vegans out there. There's people out there who think that eating meat is wrong. I don't. Humans have always consumed meat. Other animals consume meat. It's not wrong to consume meat. Now, what is wrong is how these animals are living and being treated, and how they are being, let's just use the word euthanized instead of the other word. I don't want to get in trouble online. Let's use chickens or pigs. My mother worked on a pig farm for many years, and she told me working there traumatized her. It affected her rest of her life. It severely traumatized her. She witnessed some very bad things. She said that the pigs were severely abused, that they were treated like worse than trash. Even the baby pigs, they were treated like they were nothing. And they lived in horrible environments and was fed basically garbage. And she said that the pigs were so sweet. And she said that they were so smart. You could tell that they were very aware. And it really did something to my mother's soul. It really did. She won't never the same after leaving that job. She wouldn't go into deep detail, but she said it was bad. Okay, she said it was bad. And let's just say this video is about my belief only, my opinion only, and for entertainment purposes only. So I love all animals, even the animals I consume. It is important that you have respect for the animals that you consume. Hell, it's important to even have love for them. So a pig, a chicken, who is raised up in a bad way, they're abused, they're fed crappy food, dirty water, they're pumped up with antibiotics and chemicals and fed the worst food, and they live in dirty environments, they're piled on top of each other, they don't have enough personal space, and then any human interaction that they have is with humans that either ignore them or treat them like they're nothing. Like I said, it is important to have respect for the animals because they sacrifice themselves for you, for your body, for your nourishment. So it is important to have respect for them. It really is. And then they're put on these horrible, disgusting, dirty, cramped trucks, and they have to travel pretty far, and some of them pass away on the truck. Some of them don't even make it to the houses. And then they're euthanized in a very inhumane way, in a way that they know it's coming. I have talked to people who have worked at these houses, and they told me that it's absolutely horrible what the animals go through, that they're severely abused, that the animals scream and cry, and that there's filth, and the smell is awful, and that the animals know what's coming as soon as they get off those trucks because they can smell it. And the whole process of how these animals are euthanized is horrible, horrible, horrible. So, due to all of these things that I just named off, their meat is filled with fear and negativity because of how they grew up, how they were raised, how they were treated, and then how they met their end. Because of all this, they have the most horrible, horrible negativity. So when you eat their meat, you're eating their fear, you're eating their negativity, and you're eating all the, the bad stuff that they were fed. So it's going to fuck up your energy. It's going to fuck up your chakras, your energy, your third eye. But unfortunately, most of us have to shop from the grocery store. Now, what you can do, and my grandmother believed in this, my grandmother would not eat one thing without praying over it. I mean, she may eat a cookie or a piece of candy or something and not pray over it, but my grandmother believed that you had to bless your food. She strongly believed that you shouldn't eat without blessing your food. She would always pray and bless her food before eating it. She just couldn't eat without blessing her food. She would say just a quick little 2-second prayer. God, please bless this food. I am grateful. Thank you. Just a quick little second. If you bless your food before eating it, it's going to be a lot better for you. It still won't be the same thing as, it still won't be as good as something you grow yourself, you raise yourself, or that you buy from a ethical local farmer. But if you bless it, if you pray over your food, and you should pray over your water, your drink, all your food, because all of it contains negativity. If you pray over it first, it's going to be a lot better for your body. Like you could just say, I like to place my hand over it and visualize bright white light. I'm grateful for this food. I bless this food for my highest good only. Thank you. Just takes a second. You can even program your food to do certain things for you. Like you could program your water for beauty. You could program it for weight loss. Sorry, coffee. Yeah, but like a lot of people, there's a lot of vegans out there who don't agree with eating meat. Look, these animals are not stupid. Okay, they know what their purpose is. They know what they're for. And hell, like I I do have psychic abilities. I do have mediumship abilities, and sometimes I can read animals. And the animals that, I mean, they're okay with it, but they're not okay with how they're being treated. You know, if they get to live a decent life before they're consumed, they're okay with it. You know, people may not agree with me, but they know, like, they know what their purpose is. You know, they know that they're basically food for us. Just like our animals that we have as companions, they know they're our companions. They're not idiots. But, you know, someone who raises, like, their own chickens, for example, they raise that chicken in a beautiful environment where the chicken gets to be in green grass and gets to be in the sun. They get fresh, clean water. They get lots of good, yummy foods, you know, that makes them happy. And they're shown love and respect. And then when it comes to euthanize them, to consume them, you know, it's done in a way where it's not scary or fearful or nasty, you know, like people who raise their own chickens, a lot of them will hold the chicken and show them love and pet them and say, thank you for your sacrifice, I'm grateful. And then, you know, they'll put on like a log and use an axe, you know, and do it in a very quick way to where the chicken don't even realize, you know, what's really happening. So when it happens, the chicken feels calm, it feels loved. So a chicken like that was loved and cared for and raised and lived a good, happy life, a chicken like that, its meat is going to be very high vibrational. You should still bless it before you consume it, but it'll be very, very high vibrational. Same thing when it comes to fruits and vegetables, believe it or not. You know, apples that, you know, how about not use apples? Let's say, I don't know, peas or corn, you know, corn that's grown by a greedy farmer that just sells to the grocery stores. You know, there are farmers who don't give a shit, spray everything down with toxins and chemicals and sells to the grocery stores, you know. And then there's local farmers who cares about their crops and cares about their fruits and vegetables and cares about their animals. And they do everything organically and humanely and clean. You know, but a freaking thing of corn that's, you know, grown with chemicals and toxins and, you know, is not grown by someone who actually cares, and then it's, you know, ripped up from the field and then thrown in a truck, and all these different people touch it and is around it, the farm workers, the people who take it to the stores, the people who package it, you know, so it's around all these different energies, all these negativities. It goes through long travels, so it gets dirty and it gets filled with a bunch of negativity. And then, you know, it's just thrown on the grocery stores, on the shelves of the grocery stores. That piece of corn is going to be very negative, very low vibrational. You know, it was slapped all around, thrown all around, touched and around so many different people, sprayed down with chemicals and toxins and just thrown on the shelf of the grocery store. So, I mean, same thing with flowers, you know, things that are grown by greedy people who don't actually care for the things that they're growing and raising. And these, let's just say, products are going to go through all this shit. It's just going to be filled with negativity. So you need to bless your food before you, even your water. I stay away from packaged water. That shit is horrible. I use a filter and I use stainless steel bottles. But you should be blessing everything before you consume it, because everything's going to have negativity in it. And as a spiritual worker, this is going to affect your energy body. This is going to affect your aura. This is going to affect your chakras. It's going to affect your chakras, your third eye. It's going to affect your energy body. It's going to affect your readings. It's going to affect your spell work. It's going to affect your healing, unfortunately. And it will make you feel shitty and tired and just, you know? So it is important that you bless. Now, I forget. I eat stuff every day and I forget to bless it. But I noticed that I always, this naturally I've gotten to where I use my intuition. Whereas anytime before I drink or eat anything, I always just naturally do it with intention. Like, it is blessed. This is good for me, you know? If I forget to actually say the prayer, I've noticed just consuming it with intention alone helps. But it is best if you do the visualization and speak it out loud, because that's how you actually bless. But doing it with intention is very good too. So yeah, I mean, as a spiritual worker, it's important to know that what you consume matters. I mean, there's going to be things out there where no matter how much you bless it, it's still going to be very bad for you. I mean, even if you do, if you do bless it, it will be a lot better for you. Yes, but it's still going to be, it's not going to change the fact that it's bad for you, such as Little Debbie cakes, such as cookies. You know, I've talked about how I have a sugar addiction, and Hecate's helping me with it, my spirits are helping me with it, and I'm working through that. And I've been progressing, I have. But what you consume is very important. Like I said, a lot of people, you know, vegans think it's wrong to eat meat. It's not wrong. Animals eat meat. What is wrong is how they're being treated and how they're living and how they're being raised. There is this girl I saw on TikTok. I'm pretty sure she deleted her TikTok account because she was getting so much hate. But she grew her own food. She didn't believe in supporting the grocery stores, and she believed that the food was horrible, and she didn't think it was right to support the grocery stores, and she didn't like how the animals were being treated. So she started her own little farm. This is a little farm. She grew her own garden. She raised her own chickens, had her own eggs, and she grew chickens to consume. Not grew, but raised. And she was making educational videos on TikTok to teach people how to live like this, how to grow and raise your own food. And people just showed her so much hate. Because she even showed a video on how to properly, humanely euthanize a chicken. And she didn't show the actual process, you know. She didn't show it actually happening, but she explained it. And she got a lot of hate to the point where she finally, I believe, she got rid of her TikTok because she got so much hate. But I couldn't understand why she got so much hate. She even herself explained that it's better to raise your own chickens and show them love and gratitude and respect and take good care of them and give them a good life, and then consume them, than consuming a chicken that was raised horribly and euthanized horribly. You know, she's like, I'd rather not support those grocery stores who do that, not support those farmers who do that. So instead of giving her money to them and eating, you know, those chickens filled with antibiotics and all kinds of shit, she decided to raise her own chickens. And I can't believe the amount of hate this woman was getting. I'm like, are people this dumb? Like, wake up. It is okay to eat meat. What is not okay is being abusive to the animal, giving it a shitty life, being disrespectful, and euthanizing it in a way that is uncomfortable and fearful and terrifying for the animal. It is completely okay to consume meat, you know, but the meat that we're getting from the grocery stores is those poor animals suffer. They suffer. You know, like I said, these animals are not stupid. They know their food. They know we consume them. And they honestly don't mind. As long as they get to live a decent, comfortable life, they're okay with it. Like I said, I can read animals and I can read them. You know, most of them, if I connect with them, they always tell me the same thing. As long as you give me a decent, happy life, I'm okay with you consuming me. But the ones who know that they're going to be consumed, but they're living horribly, they feel heartbroken. They feel disrespected. They just their poor souls, most of them unfortunately don't get to cross over. They need a chicken that's euthanized by an ethical farmer who loved and cared for that chicken and gave it a good life. Most of the time their souls cross over. People don't realize this. Animals become lost souls. They cross over and they're fine. Sorry, I feel like I'm getting emotional because, you know, I have read these animals and it's heartbroken. Anyway, I was saying it's heartbreaking what they show me. But an animal that is, you know, the kind of animals whose meat is sold in the grocery stores, a lot of times they don't cross over. They have trouble. They have difficulty with that because they had such a horrible life and then they were euthanized in such horrible ways. Anyway, guys, my point is of this video is to tell you guys that that food does carry energy, and that sometimes that energy is low, sometimes it's high. Pretty much everything you get from the grocery store is very negative, low vibrational energy. And what these energies that you consume, when you consume the energy, literally is in your body. So it's going to affect your physical body and your spiritual body. It will affect your spiritual work. So, I mean, everybody needs to know this. Everyone needs to be aware of this, but especially a spiritual worker, especially a spiritual practitioner. They need to know about this. They need to bless things before they consume it because it will affect their spell work. It will affect their energy work. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there who think eating meat is wrong. It's not. What's wrong is how, you know, the ones that's being sold in the grocery store is living and being treated, how they're raised and euthanized. You know, what's important is that you take good care of the animal, you give it a decent life, you give it time to grow up and live before you know, take its life. You know, a lot of these animals in the grocery store, they're euthanized very young. Some of them, they're pumped full of stuff that makes them grow fast and makes them get a lot of meat fast, but they're euthanized young before they even got a chance to enjoy their life a little bit. You know, I think cows are euthanized at like 2 years old or something. And don't get me wrong, there are some very ethical farmers out there, okay? There's some ethical ones that sell to the grocery stores. But most of the ethical ones sell online and they sell in person, you know, so most of us don't have the money to support ethical farmers. Most of us don't have the money to avoid the grocery stores, you know, but, you know, try to. If you can afford to go get some cheese from an ethical dairy farmer, you know, go do that. Don't get me started on the dairy cows and what they're going, oh my God, I can't even, oh no, you don't look up what dairy cows go through unless you can handle it, because let me tell you, it is bad, 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 bad. Oh, you gotta bless your milk. You bless anything with dairy in it for sure. Because these poor cows, oh, you don't even know. Us humans, we're not supposed to be consuming milk. I don't know who invented that, but we're not supposed to consume another animal's milk, you know. You know, things like soy milk, I feel like it's okay, almond milk, but cow milk shouldn't even be legal. It shouldn't be. But we do need it for a lot of things, but really it should be replaced with something else and it should be made legal. So you don't even want to know what these dairy cows go through and how they suffer and how they get treated. You know, there was this one dairy farmer kid who parents owned the dairy farm, and he would go live on TikTok, live of him working on the dairy farm. He got so much hate too that people basically ran him off the internet, and I don't blame them. Those cows did not look healthy. They were bloated. They were covered in shit. You know, they were being spun around on a spinner thing. And he was like, we try to treat our dairy cows better than anyone else. Yeah, they're not living the greatest life. I admit to that. You know, but we do what we have to do, and we do our best to try to give them a good life. You know, we try to be better than other farmers. Like, he admitted to it, but said, you know, we try to do better by our cows. We do try. And I'm like, I still don't support you. I'm sorry, I don't. You know, I can't support that. So, anyway, yeah, bless your food. Be mindful of your food. Be mindful of what you consume. And yeah, love you guys. Bye.